What's up, guys? Welcome to season 2 of the XL Breakdown. We're going to do something a little bit different this season, at least we're going to test it in this first episode. So rather than analysing a pro game and talking about high-level team strategy, what we're going to do is we're going to take games from the community and we're going to talk about individual micro stuff that could actually be useful for your solo queue and so that everyone can climb. So as before, I'm Just Jon. I'm joined by Furndog as well. So the way we're going to do these clips is this one we've just taken separately from someone. Normally what we'll do every 2 weeks, if you follow our Twitter, there'll be an announcement on Twitter. You can enter your competition and get your VOD broken down. All right. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be just focusing on Counterfeit here. So this replay comes from Counterfeit Cast on Twitter. And we'll be going through... This is actually a Clash game. They won't all be Clash games. It can just be a replay that you think is effective. We've had a look at this one very briefly. We think there's some stuff in here that will be useful for everyone in terms of the way we jungle in solo queue and stuff like that to be more effective on the map, basically.
Yeah, and I think it's quite nice it being a Clash game because it kind of allows us to be a little bit more controlling over our teammates with the decisions we make as well. So. Especially as a jungler, where you need your teammates to be doing certain things for it to work really well. Actually, having some control over what other people do as well is quite nice.
We will try and avoid talking about other people, but you're probably better off standing there than warding because you don't waste the ward. Yeah, because now you don't have the ward for the lane. That's just a little thing. Other than that, simple cover level 1 doesn't really matter. So the thing with jungling, right, is you're going to be. It's all about planning and it's all about efficiency. So you've got to think, how am I going to start? Where do I want to pressure? What do I want to get accomplished in the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game? Where do I want to go? So we'll see where Counterfeit goes here.
Yeah. What level is this game as well, John? Do we mention that?
I think this is a...
Roughly gold,
silver, low gold game in Clash.
So, I mean, it's a common mistake that people make at that level. Just actually not having a clear plan of what they're trying to do. They just kind of just go with it, and if they see somewhere where they gank, they just gank without actually any real kind of rhyme or reason behind it. Just doing it because you can rather than because you should is like the first thing to try and avoid.
Yeah. So we'll see what the chosen path is here. One of the reasons that Zim became strong again in this meta is that you can take these scuttle crabs and go for buff, scuttle, gank, scuttle is quite a good path.
Very strong early trading jungler. Once has access to the ultimate, he is actually very good at negating lots of the strong junglers like Talia and Graves right now because they can't really damage him outside of being in melee and they don't want to be in melee vision.
So this I really like actually. I like this as a plan. Okay, so the idea then here is we're going to try and pressure top lane because Darius is really strong in lane. The best way to get him though is he becomes very susceptible to ganks. Every time he trades with you, he Qs, he's going to hit that AoE, he's going to hit the minions, he's going to push into your lane, and he doesn't have any gap closers to get away. So knowing that we're going to pressure top, take a slightly inefficient path, or quite inefficient path, a lot of walking, and then we just do a buff, scuttle, and then into a top gank, I think, and Jax is aware of that, and he's going to push and come in at 2. I don't know, that's just me. Being terrible.
Okay. Whenever you have this kind of 4-1 composition where you've got a split pusher on your team, so in this instance they got the Jax, they want the Jax to operate.
I think if this dies, he gets 2. Probably,
yeah. To operate on the kind of ganking level, you have to be really aware that you want the Jax to be ahead. So if that's the plan here, then that's exactly what the plan should be. I don't disagree with that. But the execution there is a little bit off. I mean, there could have been better communication with the Jax. This is Clash, so that's again a benefit of something like Clash as opposed to solo queue. He can say to Jax, "When are you 2?" Jax can reply, and immediately you're much more likely to have kind of success with that.
Yeah. 1 second, I'll just check that this is still recording. Yeah, because I forgot to check again. Sometimes it bugs out a bit. So now come back into the jungle. Again, basically, when we're talking about efficiency, I think the best way to think of it is when are you just walking around not accomplishing anything. So, for example, that walking from red buff to here is sort of a waste of time in that you go past camps. but it's worth it because we want to pressure the Darius.
Sometimes you can be like inefficient in terms of optimal efficiency, but it's better for your plan or like least expected, so it's technically more efficient. Just like we were mentioning there, actually going from red all the way to the Scuttle Crab without getting any God experience, it is a situation which generally you'd want to avoid, but because he actually went to a certain win condition of controlling the top side of the map, trying to get as much vision, trying to allow this Jax to beat the Darius, and facilitating that matchup, that's the situation that Xin Zhao was trying to put him in here. But
Yeah, so this is the one that I disagree with, right? So I think we're going to see Counterfeit come back up again.
It's going to be good.
We've got lots of minions here. Jax needs to farm. If he gets a good freeze here, then that's a perfect time to come and capitalise on this Darius. But this is quite risky. We don't know where Udyr is. We can guess from where bot lane came into lane that he started bot side. So although we know, you can infer still that he's done buff, camp, buff. There's a very standard start. In which case Udyr is going to be looking to do something on the map, and you're going to expose yourself here.
Yeah, especially on the top side. I mean,
for this one.
If Udyr is really clever here, he's actually waiting in this lane bush, pushed up, ready for you to do this, and he comes out of this bush and you die now.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of been very counterproductive on what you're trying to do, because you're all about getting the Jax ahead, and you put yourself in a situation where, yes, you're stronger 2v1, but you don't know it's a 2v1.
Yeah, what I'd have more liked to have seen is just once we've got that advantage top lane, that flash is useful to have Darius flash down. Just come back into the jungle and just go the most efficient clear you can do, which is just like camp, all the way down through your jungle to clear it all out. That means it's all going to come spawning back up at the same sort of time, so you can get another one of these super efficient clears when it comes back up to go the whole way through, and that's how you start getting these massive amounts of farm that you see, especially
rather than the odd camp spawning here, then another camp spawning there.
So Udyr is just waiting now in the jungle again. We didn't know that Udyr was going to be waiting here. What we did know though is that Udyr is going to be doing something on the map at this sort of time,
especially on the top side. We knew he started bot side from the way bot lane leashed and came to lane. It should be fairly clear that Udyr should be on this top side of the map. Yeah. As a result, actually the initial bit of actually ganking this Darius is the scary bit there, because
how do you? I'm sorry, this is really smooth production. I'm pretty sure I'm clicking on.
Yeah, you are. You have to click away from it and back on. Yeah,
right.
So
okay.
weird.
Okay, so come back out onto the map again. You could infer that your wolves are down because Udyr is taking you out of your jungle and Miles came to cover him. But you just need to, if you've not got a very specific plan, a very specific objective, just take some farm. Take a camp or two. Because this is how you end up in a situation where you're going to start falling massively behind.
Yeah, I mean, this is just ganking for the sake of ganking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, whether this works or it doesn't, I mean, it clearly doesn't work.
Yeah.
Draven just cashed in on the 37 minions.
Yeah, Draven and Tarek really strong 2v2. Thresh and Caitlyn not so strong in the actual fight when it comes to a fight.
Yeah.
I mean,
worst case scenario in this lane is that you farm on your way to this lane, and they're asking you to push out for them because they want to recall. A common mistake people make is that the laners are actually just want to recall, spend the gold they're sat on, come back to lane with items because their back timing wasn't great. So what the jungler can do is not try and gank, but actually just come in the lane, facilitate Caitlyn pushing out the lane, give her that 3 back where she's not going to lose a ton of minions to a tower. But actually just ganking every time because of that can sometimes put you in detrimental situations, just like it did there.
So now we do see 2 things to talk about. Firstly, we see he can clear these 2 camps, which is good, as we're talking about. Just farming is something that people forget to do when you get to this competitive situation where it's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. You forget you just need to get farm as well. Yeah. So unless you've got a very specific plan, just farm. I think that's a really good tip for junglers, especially at this sort of elo. They get a bit carried away in terms of doing stuff on the map. The reason that it makes a difference to have farmed early is because if you'd have farmed these earlier, would they be sort of coming back up again? You end up just losing gold on the map as a team.
You just get double the amount of counts, right? It's like you not killing a minion wave, and then the next minion wave doesn't spawn until you've killed the previous one, as an example. And as a result, you'd only be stuck with those 6 minions in your lane forever. Yeah. So you want to be getting as many as you can and take them off the map. And then while you've got that downtime of them being off the map, try and use that to actually that time in to be more efficient.
Here though, we see. I'll jump back so we can all see it. I think we saw. Yeah. So taking these wraiths, getting quite low. Udyr comes into your jungle here. This red, I just leave it now. It's gone.
Yeah.
Udyr is much stronger than Xin at this point in the game, partly because of the early advantage he got from that level 3, partly because as we saw him on Award, we can see that he's got a lot more CS. He's quite a few camps up already. He's going to be up in XP.
He's 2.5 camps up. I mean, a key thing in an area like this, there is a little while to this red spawns. It's like 30-40 seconds.
Yeah.
So if Shin wants to back, he can back and come back to this. If you're in a situation where you want to contest, the key things that any jungler needs to know when just making that kind of decision is, one, how strong are you relative to the other jungler? In this instance, a little bit weaker. And what are your lanes doing? Either side of this buff. So Azir is shoved under tower. Caitlyn's in base. There is zero way you can control any of that bot side. It's actually a surprise that Fresh doesn't even die here with the positioning he's taken here, with Turret moving in, Draven can move in too, Malzahar can already be in there and actually not lose anything for it. It's no surprise there that Fresh at least didn't have to burn Flash for that.
So again, you've got camps coming up topside now, so what you could do is just sacrifice this red, take these camps, then back and head to enemy red or something like that. Then you've got a bit more gold when you're backing. You're again not wasting time, because what's going to happen, I assume, is you go and check this, even though we should know this is gone. And we saw Udyr come in, we didn't see him leave. He knows the camp's coming up soon, so he's just going to take it as soon as it spawns.
And it's almost guaranteed
you're walking on a wasting time.
You're almost guaranteed to be walking on a warded area as well, right? So not only do they know that you've got your buff, but they also know that you actually not get any farm. They also see where you're going. I mean, maybe it wasn't warded, I don't know, because Draven's positioning didn't seem such, but I guess he's really not that bothered. But in reality, there should have been wards placed when they control that area, and as a result, this gank wouldn't have worked, and your bot side cleared was nothing. Now you're just backing again. Thankfully, Draven kind of gave it up a little bit there, and you actually got some gold from that bot side, but normally you would get 0 out of that. And Udyr would have just puffed into your top side, taking your blue, taking your grump, taking your wolves. Then when you go into the top side here now, you'd actually have no camps here either.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing like a double CS lead almost coming out for the Udyr, which is huge.
Yeah. So basically, you think of it: take the camps. Unless you've got a very specific plan, take the camps. And also, if the other jungler goes somewhere else, just do something on the other side of the map. Yeah. You see Udyr gank bot, go into his top side.
And it also seems like Counterfeit has lost a bit of the kind of idea about the original plan. It seemed like you wanted to be playing around the Darius, you wanted to be giving vision control for the Jax. As we're seeing now, Jax is falling behind. Counterfeit spent most of the time bot lane, actually not top lane at all. So there's a big situation here where, one, you're just negating the plan that's meant to be, and two, you're just falling really far behind yourself. And anyone who thinks kills versus farming is like a massive thing. If we did look at the gold of Xin Zhao versus Udyr now, without a kill, the Udyr is 2-0 up. Even though the Xin Zhao managed to get the kill from 200 gold up. Sorry. Even though the Xin Zhao got the kill on the Draven there. So much more important to get the regular farm coming in.
This is the same thing as we see. We're watching it from blue side. If you're trying to, I would say don't hit this unless you've got a very specific idea, because it shows them exactly where you are. So if your idea is to go back off and farm, hit it up here so we can see if Darius has a ward. If you go and clear the ward again, just by having that ward cleared, Darius is a bit more under pressure, especially as this Jax has also got another opportunity to freeze this here.
Yeah, this looks like a pushing
again,
wave.
It's just a plan, and there's something that we're trying to accomplish.
If you're a little bit higher level right now and you're Xin Zhao, you're sat there, you look at that wave top lane and you think Darius needs to push this in. Malzahar, we just saw in bot lane, so potentially Udyr is bot lane as well, trying to help with that 4-man play on bot side. So there's no one to help Darius if I go top now, and we know he really wants to push his wave in, or Jax is going to freeze it. As a result, you actually just punish that that Darius when he overextends to push it in, and potentially get his flash again there.
And this is the same situation that we saw before, right? And we've been talking about over and over. I mean, this is basically, if you want to see how efficient you are at jungling, you think, how much time am I spending not farming and also not ganking?
It's like gold and experience income per minute, right? And realistically, we've seen a Gromp into 2 walks top lane that resulted in going back down the river, a look around mid lane that resulted in nothing, a walk into the jungle but then realised didn't have a ward, a walk into the jungle again to clear a ward, and now just the start of the Herald, which again, like...
So Udyr shows bot, Yes, this is good in principle to taking the objective.
Yeah.
This is a very slow objective to take. I think it's just exacerbated by the fact that now, because even when you were saying it, it was like Zin was on like 30 CS and Udi was on like 50. Now Zin's on 37 and Udi's on 70, just from that
And
few minutes of not accomplishing
the
stuff,
only camps
not
that
getting
Jin
camps.
has up are his bot side camps, and they've just lost their tower bot side. Udi is quite freely able to go in here now and just clear those camps himself alongside his bot lane with protection. Caitlyn and Fresh could do nothing. You lose those other two camps. You're basically getting this and Wolves for the whole bot side and first tower, and all of a sudden your team's 4,000 gold down.
Yeah. And it's just, a lot of this is just farm difference. I mean, Rift Herald is a good objective on 8.11 especially, if you can then play around it. It takes a long time to get, but it's all about, if you'd have done that after being much more efficient in the early game, we wouldn't have been in this situation where you're so far down on CS.
Yeah, you'd be level there, and Udia would show bot side, and you'd get the Rift Herald for free while being even. But
this is also one thing that, so jungling, yes, you don't have the mechanics, but you do need to start keeping track of where the enemy jungler has been. So the thing to note is that Zin here has invaded like 3 or 4 times, but not actually taken a single camp. As in, he's poked his head into the enemy
really
jungle.
hasn't even bought
But
any pinks.
that's because that's where we know Udi has been. So we know these camps are down. You can infer from that where he goes, and then you can also infer what camps are up, which then becomes much more efficient, so you don't waste that time.
Sometimes, especially if you're in a losing jungle matchup, it's fine to invade sides of the jungle where Udia has already taken the camp, knowing that you can get control of that side of the jungle because he's not going to be there because there's nothing for him to farm. But in order to do that, you need to be investing gold into vision control. You need to be using your trinkets offensively when you know Udia is not there.
And then you use the fact that you know he's there.
Use the fact you know he's there when the camps do spawn to make a decision elsewhere on the map. Maybe you did do exactly what we're speaking about on bot side. You see Udia on his Gromp, because his Gromp spawned. When you put the ward down was 35 seconds ago. Actually, it's now spawned. He's going to do his Gromp. He's doing his Gromp. Then you can get this gank off top lane without knowing that while knowing he's not going to be there.
So at this point, we have no idea where Udia is. Yes, we're quite far behind, so you do get to sort of more desperate plays are okay. Darius is really strong in the 2v2. Udia is really strong at this point because we know there's this massive CS discrepancy and massive item discrepancy.
Yeah, Finnish Warrior is such a power spike for any Warrior junglers.
Yeah.
It's literally a difference between like 20 AD and 60 AD. You get 40 AD just for completing the item for like 525 gold. It's so good.
So come here, and this is just also because if the Zin had more gold here, he'd be doing much more work. Jax has also no mana. Udyr is here, but it doesn't even matter that Udyr's here. Darius kills them both anyway.
No, that's your win condition that you were playing for right from the start of the game, just gone. I mean, that's like pretty much it now. Jax is not going to come back from being half the CS of Darius and those 2 kills that he just picked up. When Darius goes spends his gold, he gets his Titanic Hydra into Sheen. Not the way I'd probably build the Darius myself, but still a situation where the amount of gold spent in comparison to what Jax has spent is really rough for you.
This is a good proactive team play, so they see the massive overextension from bot lane. There's nothing to take up top side because they already take top. They took Harold.
Yeah.
It's a good collapse. Shame not to get both of them, but shame not to get either of them.
Well then, doesn't look like that's possible.
Yeah, it doesn't look like. Okay. Yeah, that's not really a individual thing though. We won't talk about that too much.
Yeah.
Right, so this is a point of the game where, as the jungler as well, even though now you can't get the green smite, you can't get the support item, it's still your part of the vision control. You have to be helping. Where do we put these wards? You're probably going to be the ones who go into the wards. You should always have your pink ward down as a jungler. You should have a pink ward down and a pink ward in your inventory, so you can move it into the enemy jungle if you ever get an invade, as Josh was talking about earlier. So what we need to see now is we're losing the outside towers. We're losing this tower, losing this tower. This tower is very low. It's going to be quite hard to hold on to. We need to have wards in these points here. So one here, one here, at the very least.
Absolutely.
To start seeing where they run into the jungle and where they're trying to push, and allowing you to rotate from this lane to this lane, and also allowing Zin to get any CS. Because what you see in a lot of games, especially at higher level, is when one team gets ahead and gets some towers down, any jungler just gets like no CS anymore. So we'll see if any of that happens from the blue side here.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like it right now. There needs to be so many more wards than this on the map. And really it should be just wards to allow you to even just enter into your own jungle.
Scuttle is good, and it's fine to get Scuttle here. It's a little risky because you only have this one vision. You've got this way pushing up, okay, so that gives you good protection. So it is worth getting.
Yeah, well,
People have got way overzealous, I think, for Scuttle. It's like getting a camp at this point in the game.
yeah.
which
Once
is
you
good.
get past level 9,
But it's
so
not like-
it starts to get there soonish. It's like a little bit better than most camps, and it scales kind of the best out of the camps now.
Yeah.
Right?
So
But-
it is good. I'm just saying that only reminded me of it. So in this situation, you're okay because you've got your pink ward and you've got your lane pushed up here.
yeah.
But it's like if it was going to be Scuttle and then do something else and leave these 2 camps up, just take the 2 camps.
Yeah, the 2 camps are worth more than the skull.
Especially as Zin, who just regens with the jungle so easily. Like, you're not losing any health for taking these. It's literally just, it's time investment. You could either be farming or you could be sitting in lane waiting and doing nothing. So this goes down. It's very hard to hold that. This is something we'll see a lot, I expect, in Clash teams. Don't defend objectives that are doomed.
The indefensible, yeah. Because you end up dying for it, and then you'd end up losing more objectives that you have to give up, rather than just the one you're trying to defend, for sure.
Yeah, so that's low. They've set that up fairly well. Darius pushed back top. This lane actually is pushing to them, but it's still, they don't need to collect it right now.
Where's
They
she?
just group up and Zimra's in base.
Oh, okay.
You just group up and go for this tower. You can't defend this is the blue side. Just let it go. So if you're in solo queue, just spam ping away from like fullback, trying to as much as possible. Not guarantee that they actually are going to fall back, but do as much as possible to help your team.
Yeah, one thing that has been nice in this game is there hasn't been just that endless fighting, which is good, which we regularly see for a lot of games. It's only 5-1 at 18 minutes, which is actually a lot less than most even high elo scrims on this patch, actually.
I don't know if that's worth talking about really. Originally good, trading the Azir out for Tarako and then re-engaging with Tarako's down is just too far behind in gold basically.
Yeah, a lot of the skirmishes now will be very much dictated by the lack of gold that the blue team's got.
One of the first pink boards that I've seen. There's been one up here. There's been a couple, but we need to get these.
I mean, everyone on the team should be putting them down. Like, they should literally be 4 or 5 on the map at all times, plus pinks in people's inventory.
And this is something you can do in solo queue. Like solo queue, they might not follow you if you get invaded on and stuff like that. But if you just be like, guys, we need to ward here and here and here, please.
And then you ward yourself, and sometimes they'll do it, sometimes they won't. But that's solo queue. But at least you're like perfecting good habits.
Yeah. So now, again, this is just about the situation where you want to be farming up and you want to be scaling. This is all this is quite aggressive. So if I don't know why the mouse runs away, but I assume it's because they don't have enough vision. But when there's camps up, we don't need to be doing like crazy aggressive things because we just want to be getting as much gold as possible.
Yeah, you're just not in a situation right now where you can fight. I mean, you're going to need Caitlyn to have items, you need Azir to have items, and you need Jhin to have a little bit more kind of tanky stats or defensiveness to be able to jump into the team and actually not get one shot. So probably a QSS for this particular reason.
That's the exact same thing we just talked about. Like, you got camps up, you don't need to be doing this. Well, I mean, you don't need to be doing this anyway, but you've got camps up. You can't be fighting in their jungle when they're this far ahead. This is why these wards should be in your jungle, not in theirs, because these towers are all down.
Vision is like a slow progressive thing, which if you lose control of it, you need to slowly fight back and slowly move it up the map. You can't just run into the enemy jungle and put wards down and hope they work, because a lot of the time they're actually not going to see anyone because their team's just going to be in your jungle. So those wards actually see nobody and don't really give you any benefit. You want to put
wards here would have saved.
You want to put wards on the entrances to your jungle, and then if you get more control of the map, say we get a tower in mid lane or whatever, and you start to push minion waves further into the map. So that's why having towers down is so important, because if you get the tower, you're able to push your minion wave further, and if you push your wave further, someone collects it further back. That gives you time to push your vision further up.
So this 20 minutes, Baron's coming up. All those wards needed to be over here. Oh, sorry, over here. Just because that's the area that we're going to have to fight around, and you can't.
Yeah, I mean, what do these wards do for you now? They're literally like useless pieces of gold put on the map that are not going to give you any information at all.
This, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily always be farming, but for example, again, we've watched about a minute of just Zin is not useful in a siege. So now he's going off to take camps, which is good, but it's just there's so if you looked at this game and you wrote down
the amount of time on camps compared to
yeah.
the amount of time actually doing nothing, you would have so much downtime of not getting gold or experience.
And this, we're already in a super rough situation, right? So we have the Azir that scales up. Caitlyn needs like 3 or 4 items with Storm Razors first.
I mean,
I think you need 4 items before Caitlyn is strong in this patch. So this is very very rough situation to be in.
I mean, you're 10k down now. 10k at 23 minutes.
And again, Udyr's just doing the same thing. Every time camps are up, Udyr's taking camps.
Yeah.
I think he's probably taking some lane CS as well, but actually maybe not even.
And again, he's 0-0-2 and he's 2,000 gold up nearly. So, I mean, that tells you need to know about kills versus... I don't know.
It's a good pick here, very aggressive. If you had wards here, you would have known that they were there and gone in and not just happened to find it, but still, same thing, I guess.
I mean, same outcome, not so consistent, right?
I thought people had like hotkeys to go to that person, but I can't find what they are.
Is it F1, F2, F3? Don't worry about it now.
It's too late.
Try on a different day.
Slick production, it's too late. Yeah, so this is the point of the game where it gets quite rough for the jungler. That blue's always got to go to Azir.
Yes, because that's your main tool at wave clearing these ways that you're getting sieged upon, and you need to try and do your
again,
best.
it's just lack of wards again. So they're so strong that they can be pressuring all over the map at the same time, but it's still like there just needs to be more wards. Why can't I? Well then, League of Legends.
It appears that we can't click on Jin Zhao.
Right.
There we go.
I don't know what that is. We'll sort that out. So now we get some wards right on the Baron. That's better than it was, but each time it's like learning from your mistakes, which is good, but making the big mistake costs you a lot already.
Yeah, and I mean, how are you gonna Baron's gone effectively with these wards or not with the wards? They have to make monumental mistakes to do that. They're just gonna put several pinks in this river, and you're gonna face check them, and that's where you lose. Unfortunately.
There's a nice idea there. Sorry, we're going quite fast because it's sort of
over.
I was going to say it in a more tactical way.
Okay, go.
Well, I can't think of one now.
Exactly, John.
It's basically
this
over.
One's a struggle.
But what we're going to do is we can talk about it. So this is a nice idea. Just the timing's wrong. Timing's just wrong.
Malzahar thinks
he's
not seen when
he thinks he's being sneaky, but he's not.
He's not. So you could actually bait that, get the pick, and that's the type of times where you may actually look for this fight because you're definitely not going to win 5v5s. There is a possible chance you win 4v5s if you play it well.
Brilliant. Okay, so they just use this massive goal lead and the fact that
he fought them to help him, and I just got collapsed on him.
Right, we'll sort this out for next time. I think that at this point this has devolved a bit much.
This is a bit of a struggle, this one. So
okay, so but there are some good things still to take away from this. So make sure that you're thinking about what you're doing. You always have a plan in what you're doing. And the second one is just farm. Like farming efficiently. If you can farm efficiently as a jungler in teams or even in solo queue, like you'll have so many games that you can turn around that you couldn't before. So when all your lanes are losing in solo queue, you don't want to like overforce ganking those lanes despite how much you might be begged for it by your laners.
Yeah.
Just farm, just keep farming, get your own gold, get your own items, and then you can get into a strong position to do something in the mid game rather than overextending and you get the situations where either like bot lane Draven Taric still get the kill or like top lane you're unfortunately a bit too weak to even 2v1 the Darius.
Yeah, I mean you used to see situations where junglers went Moby Boots like all the time irrelevant, and it's like, I hear a lot of people ask me like, well, why are they going Moby Boots? You definitely need Merc Treads here or whatever. Again, it's just efficiency, maximizing the amount of time they're out, that they're not getting gold income or experience. Gives that situation where it's just clear of how much how important that is.
Cool, and that's it for the game then. Thanks very much for watching. This was, as you could probably tell, very impromptu and not as particularly well organised, but we'll get better at it. This is not actually something we do that much, focusing solely on one player's performance within a team. If you want to get involved and you want to send your clips in to us, What we'll do is we're going to be doing a Twitter competition every 2 weeks. So follow us at Excel.